Imagine for a moment that everything you've ever desired, everything you've ever dreamt of is already yours. The abundance, the wealth, the success, the freedom, it's all available to you right now, not in some distant future. The key to unlocking this reality lies not in waiting for external circumstances to change, but in recognizing and embracing the power of your own mind. The moment you realize that the world around you is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions you hold inside, everything begins to shift. You are the creator of your own life, and every experience you encounter is shaped by your inner world. So if you wish to experience the wealth and success that you desire, the first step is to recognize that it already exists in your consciousness. It is within you, waiting to be brought into form. It all begins with understanding that your thoughts and beliefs are the blueprint for the life you experience. If you look around and see lack, if you feel that wealth is distant or unattainable, it is simply because you have held on to thoughts and beliefs of scarcity and limitation. The external world, no matter how convincing it may seem, is merely a reflection of your inner world. What you believe to be true, what you assume to be your reality, will manifest in the world around you. This is not a theory or a mere idea. This is the natural law of life. Your world is a mirror, reflecting back to you the state of your consciousness. If you desire wealth, if you long for financial freedom, you must begin by changing the way you think about money. It is not about working harder or trying to manipulate the circumstances around you. It is about changing the way you perceive wealth and your own relationship to it. The moment you shift your inner beliefs from scarcity to abundance, from lack to plenty, you begin to change the very fabric of your reality. The universe will respond to the new inner state you have created. And what you once thought was out of reach will begin to flow into your life with ease. You may be thinking, but my circumstances don't reflect this abundance yet. How can I feel wealthy when my bank account shows otherwise? This is the essence of true creation. The ability to feel and assume the reality of your desire even before it appears in your physical world. The external world is always following the lead of your inner world. Therefore, the first step in manifesting financial freedom is to feel it in your heart, to live as though it is already yours. This is not a fleeting thought or a passing fancy. It is a deep, unwavering belief that you already possess the wealth you seek. The act of assuming the feeling of your desire is the key to manifestation. When you begin to feel the emotions of having already achieved financial freedom, you are sending a powerful signal to the universe that you are a match to that reality. The universe does not respond to your wants or wishes. It responds to your vibration, and your vibration is determined by the feelings you embody. So if you want to manifest wealth, you must begin by feeling wealthy, even before you see the physical evidence. It is this feeling of already having what you desire that sets the creation process in motion. You might wonder, how can I feel wealthy when my reality says otherwise? The answer lies in the power of your imagination. Your imagination is the tool through which you can create the reality you desire. Imagine yourself living the life you desire, the feeling of abundance, the freedom, the security, the joy. Visualize yourself experiencing all the things you would do with financial freedom. See yourself paying bills with ease, traveling to places you've always dreamed of, helping others without hesitation. Feel the emotions that accompany this imagined reality. Feel the peace, the satisfaction, the joy, and the excitement. As you do, you begin to align your inner state with the reality you wish to create. Remember, the mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. So, as you imagine yourself living a life of abundance, your mind begins to accept that as your new reality. The more you focus on this imagined reality, the more you bring it into being. The feelings you experience in your imagination begin to shape the energy around you. And as you continue to embody the feeling of wealth, you begin to attract the people opportunities, and circumstances that align with that energy. The power of your imagination lies in its ability to create. The more vividly and consistently you imagine your desired reality, the more quickly it will materialize. Your imagination is not merely a tool for daydreaming. It is the very force that shapes your life. By directing it consciously and intentionally, you are shaping the world around you. So, if you want financial freedom, start by imagining it in every detail. Live in the end result of your desire. Feel the joy and relief of already having the wealth you seek. Live in that feeling and watch as the world begins to reflect that feeling back to you. But it's not enough to simply imagine your desire. You must also believe that it is already yours. The belief that your desire is already fulfilled is the final step in bringing it into being. Doubt and fear are the greatest obstacles to manifestation. When you doubt that you deserve wealth, when you fear that it is out of reach, you block the flow of abundance into your life. But when you firmly believe that you are worthy of all the wealth and freedom you desire, when you truly accept that it is already yours, you open the door for it to manifest in your life. The moment you begin to feel and believe that financial freedom is yours, you begin to vibrate at the frequency of abundance. The law of attraction is not just about thinking positive thoughts. It is about aligning your entire being, your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs with the reality you wish to create. As you consistently align with this vibration of abundance, your outer circumstances will begin to shift to reflect it. Opportunities will appear, ideas will come, and your financial reality will begin to change in ways you never imagined possible. The process of manifestation is not about waiting for the right time or working harder. It is about claiming the reality you desire and living as though it is already true. Your inner world will shape your outer world, and as you align your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with abundance, you will begin to see the physical manifestation of that abundance in your life. The time to experience financial freedom is not in the future. It is now. Your wealth is waiting for you to claim it, to feel it, and to step into it. It is essential to understand that the life you desire is not something you need to wait for. It is something you must assume as already yours. You may look around and see your current circumstances, perhaps those of lack or struggle, and think that these external conditions must change before your desires can come to fruition. But this is where true power lies. Everything around you is a reflection of what you have believed and assumed to be true. In other words, the outer world is nothing but a mirror of the inner world. The moment you change your internal assumptions and beliefs, your external reality must reflect that change. Now consider for a moment how powerful it is to live in the end. Living in the end means assuming the feeling that your desires have already been fulfilled, even when there is no physical evidence of it. This concept is not about waiting for something to happen in the future, but about embodying the feeling and belief that your desires are already present in your life. When you begin to live as though your desires are already realized, you start to align with that reality. To live in the end is to believe in the inevitability of your desires coming to fruition. It is not about wishing for something to happen. It is about assuming that it has already happened, that it is already part of your current experience. When you begin to do this, you send a message to your subconscious mind, to the universe itself, that you are already in possession of your desire. This assumption creates a powerful force that must be reflected in your outer world. Think about the power of assuming the feeling of having already received what you desire. For example, imagine that you wish for financial freedom. What would it feel like to already have all the money you need? Imagine the relief, the joy, the comfort that comes with knowing that your financial situation is secure. Now, as you fully immerse yourself in that feeling, you start to create a vibrational match with the very reality you desire. Your mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. So as you continue to assume the feeling of financial freedom, your mind begins to accept it as your new reality. The key here is to persist in that assumption. You may not see immediate changes in your physical world, but remember, the external world must first respond to the inner state you create. The assumption of living in the end, of feeling your desire fulfilled, is what starts the process of manifestation. This is not a mere wishful thinking exercise. It is an active, ongoing process of becoming that which you seek. As you continue to live in the feeling of fulfillment, your thoughts, emotions, and actions will all begin to align with that state, and eventually the world around you will shift to match. Another important aspect of living in the end is to focus on the end result and not on the path. When you focus on the journey, on the steps you need to take, you can become easily distracted by the current obstacles or setbacks that may appear. But the moment you focus on the end result, the feeling of having already achieved your desire, you align with that future version of yourself who has already accomplished the goal. This future version of you is already living the life you desire. By focusing on this future reality and embodying the feelings associated with it, you begin to draw that future into your present. Let's take the example of manifesting wealth. Many people make the mistake of focusing on the how they will acquire the money, how they will reach their financial goals. But the moment you get caught up in the how, you disconnect from the true power that resides in your assumptions and feelings. The how is not your concern. Your concern is to live as though your desire has already been fulfilled. When you live in the end, you are no longer concerned with the process or the means by which your desire will come about. You are focused entirely on the feeling of having already received it. This approach may seem foreign, especially when your current situation seems far removed from the desired outcome. But this is the power of assumption. It is the ability to claim your desire as already fulfilled, and in doing so, to shift your consciousness to match the vibration of your goal. The external world will naturally respond to this change in your vibration. Just as a magnet attracts metal, your new internal state will attract the people, opportunities, and circumstances that align with the life you are assuming. There is a power in the feeling of the end result that cannot be overstated. Once you begin to embody the feeling of having already achieved your desire, you start to align with the very energy of that outcome. Your vibration shifts to match the reality you are creating, and this is what triggers the manifestation process. The external world is simply waiting for you to claim your desire fully and completely. The moment you live in the end, you begin to pull that desire from the invisible realm of possibility into the tangible world of reality. This is why it is so important to persist in your assumptions, even when the physical evidence has not yet materialized. Your assumptions are like seeds planted in the soil of your subconscious mind. The more you nurture them with your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, the stronger they grow, and eventually they will bloom into your physical reality. The time between planting the seed and seeing the manifestation may vary, but one thing is certain: the seed must grow if you continue to water it with your belief. When you assume the feeling of the end result, you are also taking ownership of your desires. You are no longer a passive observer, waiting for life to hand you what you want. You are a creator, actively shaping your world with the power of your assumptions and feelings. This is not something that happens by accident. It is a deliberate process of creation. The more you assume that your desires are already fulfilled, the more you step into your role as the creator of your own reality. Living in the end is a practice of total faith and belief in your own power. It is the ability to trust in the process of creation, knowing that your inner state will eventually be reflected in your outer world. This practice requires patience, persistence, and unwavering confidence in the law that governs your life, the law of assumption. By living in the end, you are claiming the life you desire and allowing the universe to reflect that back to you. When you fully embrace this truth, you will see how the world around you shifts to support your assumptions, and the life you've always desired will unfold before you. One of the most profound aspects of the human experience is our ability to shape our world through our feelings. Our emotions are not just passive reactions to external circumstances. They are the driving force behind the creation of our reality. The power to manifest our desires lies not in our thoughts alone, but in our ability to feel the reality we wish to create. When you understand this, you realize that the key to manifesting abundance, wealth, or success is not in trying to force things into being, but in embodying the feelings of already having what you desire. The feeling is the secret, and it is through the feelings you cultivate within that you will bring your desires into tangible existence. The first step in harnessing the power of feeling is recognizing that your emotions are a direct reflection of the assumptions you hold in your subconscious mind. Every time you experience a feeling, it is simply your inner beliefs and assumptions about yourself and the world being expressed outwardly. If you feel scarcity, lack, or fear, it is because deep down you have assumed that those feelings are true for you. Similarly, when you feel joy, abundance, and freedom, it is because you have adopted the belief that these emotions are reflective of your reality. This understanding is crucial because it reveals that you are not at the mercy of your circumstances. Rather, you are the creator of your circumstances, and your feelings are the tool that allows you to shape them. To manifest the life you desire, you must begin to focus on the feeling of already having your desires. This is not just about wishing for something to happen or visualizing it in your mind. It is about fully embodying the emotions and sensations that would arise if your desires were already realized. For example, if your goal is to manifest financial freedom, you must begin to feel what it would be like to live without financial worry. Feel the relief, the security, the joy of knowing that you are fully supported and abundant. Do not wait for your bank account to reflect this freedom. Rather, feel it in your heart first, and the external world will begin to mirror this internal shift. The key to manifesting through feeling is to engage with the emotions that you would experience if your desires were already fulfilled. Imagine the joy and satisfaction of living in financial abundance, the excitement of being able to help others, the peace of mind that comes with knowing that you are fully provided for. Allow yourself to fully embrace those feelings. As you do, you are aligning your internal state with the reality you wish to create. It is through this alignment that the universe begins to respond to your energy, bringing opportunities, people, and circumstances that reflect the emotions you have cultivated. But this process is not about simply pretending to feel something that is not true. It is about genuinely feeling the emotion that corresponds to the reality you desire. Your feelings are a form of communication. They are the language through which you speak to the universe. When you feel joy, abundance, and freedom, you are sending out a powerful signal that you are in alignment with those things. The universe responds to that signal, and your reality begins to shift in accordance with your internal state. Therefore, the more consistently you feel the emotions of having already achieved your desires, the more quickly those desires will manifest in your life. It's important to note that the feelings you cultivate must be persistent and unwavering. If you only feel abundance or success when things are going well, or when you feel inspired, you are not truly aligning with your desires. The key to true manifestation is consistency. Even when the external world doesn't seem to reflect your desires, you must continue to feel them as if they are already present. The external world is always following the lead of your internal state. If you persist in feeling the emotions of already having your desires, the outer world will eventually shift to match your inner reality. There will be moments when doubt or fear tries to creep in. These emotions are natural, but they must be quickly addressed. Doubt is simply the result of focusing on the current circumstances rather than the desired outcome. Fear is often a sign that you are disconnecting from the feeling of already having what you want. When you notice these emotions arising, do not engage with them. Instead, shift your focus back to the feeling of your desires being fulfilled. Affirm to yourself that what you desire is already yours, and immerse yourself once again in the feelings of joy, abundance, and security. It is in this moment that you regain your power and redirect the course of your manifestation. The power of feeling is also closely tied to the idea of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations you can emit. When you feel gratitude, you are acknowledging the abundance that already exists in your life, and this act of acknowledgement creates more of the same. The more grateful you are for what you already have, the more you open yourself to receiving even more. Gratitude reinforces the feeling of abundance, and it strengthens your alignment with your desires. As you continue to express gratitude for the blessings in your life, you attract more opportunities, people, and situations that resonate with the energy of abundance and success. Another crucial aspect of using feeling to manifest is understanding that it is not the circumstances that must change in order for your desires to manifest. It is your relationship to those circumstances. The outer world is simply a reflection of your inner state, and once you begin to shift your inner world, the outer world must follow. This is why it is essential to begin feeling the emotions of your desires now, even before the physical evidence shows up. When you consistently feel the emotions of already having what you want, you change the very vibration that you are sending out into the universe. That vibration attracts the circumstances, people, and opportunities that align with your desires. It's important to realize that feelings are not something you can force or fake. They must be genuinely felt. This requires you to be in tune with your own emotional state and to consciously choose to focus on the feelings that align with your desires. This is why it is so important to develop a practice of mindfulness and self-awareness. The more aware you are of your emotions, the more easily you can shift them to align with the reality you wish to create. When you focus on the feelings of abundance, joy, and success, you begin to shift your vibration, and as a result, you will begin to see the world around you change. Ultimately, the power to manifest your desires lies within you, and it is through your feelings that you will create the reality you seek. The more you cultivate the emotions that align with your desires, the more quickly those desires will manifest in your life. It is not about waiting for the world to change. It is about changing the way you feel about the world, and in doing so, changing your experience of it. The world is yours to create, and the key to unlocking that power lies in the feelings you choose to embody. The power of the mind is not just an abstract concept. It is the very force that shapes the reality in which you live. Your thoughts are the architects of your life, and each thought you entertain creates an energetic pattern that influences the world around you. It is through the imagination that the mind can mold the outer world, transforming dreams and desires into physical reality. The mind is not limited by time, space, or material conditions. It has the capacity to transcend all external limitations. When you grasp this profound truth, you begin to understand that everything you experience in your life originates from the thoughts and images you hold in your mind. Imagination is not simply a tool for creative expression. It is the very mechanism by which reality is brought into form. Every creation begins as a mental image. The key to manifesting your desires lies in the power of your imagination to shape those desires into reality. It is through vivid mental images and feelings of having already achieved your goals that you begin to align yourself with the life you want to live. Imagination is a bridge between the invisible and the visible, between the dream world and the physical world. It is not enough to merely think about your desires. You must feel and live as though they have already been fulfilled. The imagination is a powerful force because it knows no boundaries. It operates beyond the limitations of the physical world. While the body may be confined to space and time, the imagination is free to roam anywhere and experience anything. Through imagination, you can create entire worlds, experiences, and realities without the constraints of the physical environment. The mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you imagine yourself in a desired state, your mind treats it as if it were a real present experience. The emotions that arise from this imagined state send a signal to the subconscious mind that this is your reality. The subconscious then works tirelessly to bring your imagined state into physical form. This is where the true power of the mind comes into play. When you consciously choose to focus on a desired outcome, using the power of your imagination to vividly picture it as if it is already true, you are sending a powerful message to the universe. The energy you emit from this inner state will begin to attract the people, opportunities, and circumstances that align with your imagined reality. The law of attraction is not a mystical force. It is the natural result of the alignment between your inner world and the outer world. Your imagination is the tool that allows you to create this alignment. For instance, if your goal is to achieve financial freedom, imagine yourself already living in that state. Picture yourself with a bank account full of abundance, paying bills effortlessly, traveling without worry, helping others with your wealth. Feel the emotions that would arise from having already achieved that freedom, the peace, the security, the excitement of living a life without limitations. When you allow yourself to live in the feeling of already having what you desire, you begin to send out a vibration that matches that desired reality. The more vivid and real this imagined experience feels, the more quickly your outer circumstances will begin to shift to reflect it. This process of imagining and feeling your desires as already fulfilled is essential for manifesting your dreams. The imagination is not something that exists in the future or the past. It is a tool that you can use in the present moment to create your desired future. The key to manifestation is living as though your desires have already come to pass. You must enter into the experience of your desire as if it is already here right now. It is through this act of living in the end that you bring your vision into tangible reality. Your imagination becomes the blueprint for the universe, and the universe will respond by matching the energetic frequency of the reality you have imagined. The mind is a creative force, but it is also a reactive one. The thoughts you think and the images you create in your mind are not just idle musings. They are creating your world. If your mind is filled with thoughts of lack, fear, and limitation, these thoughts will create experiences that reflect those beliefs. Conversely, if your mind is filled with thoughts of abundance, joy, and possibility, your experiences will reflect those higher states. This is why it is so important to be mindful of the thoughts you entertain. Your imagination is always at work, whether consciously or unconsciously. By consciously choosing to focus on the images of success, abundance, and fulfillment, you are ensuring that your life moves in the direction of those desires. The power of the imagination is also amplified by repetition. The more often you vividly imagine your desired reality, the more ingrained it becomes in your subconscious mind. This creates a powerful alignment between your inner state and your external circumstances. The subconscious mind works continuously to bring your internal world into alignment with your external world. It does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It simply acts on the beliefs and images you hold. Therefore, the more you repeat the mental imagery of your desire already being fulfilled, the quicker your outer world will reflect those images. One of the most significant aspects of using the imagination to create reality is the ability to live in the feeling of your desire. Imagination is not just about picturing something, it is about feeling the emotions that arise from that imagined experience. These emotions are the fuel that propels the creation process. When you imagine yourself living in abundance, feel the joy, the freedom, the relief. Let those emotions saturate every part of your being. This emotional charge is what energizes your thoughts and images. transforming them from mere ideas into concrete manifestations. The practice of using imagination to shape your reality requires patience and faith. The external world may not immediately reflect the images you are holding in your mind. However, the law of creation is always at work, and the more you focus on your desired outcome, the more quickly it will begin to materialize. Remember, the world is always a reflection of your inner state. When you align your imagination with the reality you wish to create, the universe will reflect that back to you in ways that may surprise you. Imagination is the tool that gives you the ability to move beyond the limitations of your current circumstances and into the reality you desire. It is not bound by time or space, and it can create any outcome you can vividly imagine. The key is to believe that the images you hold in your mind are not just fantasies, they are the blueprint for your future. Through the power of imagination, you can shape your reality, and with consistency, patience, and faith, you will watch your desires unfold before your very eyes. One of the most powerful tools for creating the life you desire is the realization that your imagination is not separate from your life. It is not something reserved for daydreams or fantasy, but a direct force that shapes and molds your reality. The truth is, everything that exists in your external world first began as an internal thought or vision. The world around you is merely a reflection of your inner beliefs, assumptions, and mental images. When you understand this, you realize that the key to transforming your life lies not in changing the world outside of you, but in changing the way you perceive it from within. In order to create a different reality, you must begin to view the world through the lens of possibility. You must allow yourself to think beyond the limitations of your current circumstances and embrace the fact that you are capable of achieving anything you desire. The world is full of possibilities, and it is your thoughts and beliefs that determine which of those possibilities will become your reality. Every moment presents an opportunity to shift your perception and take a new direction, but it requires you to believe in the unseen, to trust in the power of your imagination, and to act in alignment with the future that you envision. The imagination is not a passive tool, it is an active force that creates. The moment you imagine a new reality for yourself, you are planting a seed in the subconscious mind. This seed will eventually grow and bear fruit, but it requires nurturing, consistency, and focus. The most important aspect of working with the imagination is not simply to picture a desired outcome, but to truly feel the emotions that would arise from that outcome. The feeling is the secret, because it is the feeling that activates the creative process. When you imagine your desires and fully embrace the emotions that would come with their fulfillment, you align yourself with the reality you wish to create. It is easy to be swayed by the external world and to focus on the physical evidence of what you have or what you lack. But the moment you attach your belief to the external, you are giving your power away. The key to manifesting the life you desire is to detach from the physical world and immerse yourself in the internal world of imagination. This is where true creation takes place. When you allow yourself to live in the end result, when you feel as though your desires are already fulfilled, you begin to see a shift in your outer world. The outer world is simply a reflection of your inner state of being. And when you align your internal state with your desires, the external world will naturally shift to reflect that alignment. The feelings you embody when imagining your desires are of utmost importance. You must feel the joy, peace, and gratitude that would accompany the fulfillment of your dreams. These feelings send a message to your subconscious mind, which then works to bring about the conditions necessary to manifest those desires. The subconscious mind does not question or reason. It simply accepts the images and feelings that are impressed upon it. By consistently feeling as though your desires are already yours, you are impressing your subconscious mind with the belief that it is already a fact. Once the subconscious accepts this belief, It begins to orchestrate events, circumstances, and opportunities that match that belief. But the challenge arises when you do not see immediate evidence of your desires manifesting. It is during these moments that doubt and frustration may creep in. However, you must remain steadfast in your belief. The external world is not always an immediate reflection of your inner state, but this does not mean that your desires are not on their way. The key is to maintain the feeling of having already received what you desire, regardless of the physical evidence. This is the process of faith. Faith in your imagination, faith in your ability to create, and faith in the unseen forces that are working behind the scenes to bring your desires to fruition. It is important to remember that everything in the universe is energy, and your thoughts and feelings emit a unique vibration. When you focus on a specific desire and allow yourself to feel the corresponding emotions, you begin to send out a powerful signal to the universe. This signal is a frequency that matches the vibration of your desired outcome. As you continue to hold that frequency, the universe begins to respond by bringing the people, events, and circumstances that resonate with that vibration. The more consistently you maintain that frequency, the faster your desires will begin to materialize. However, it is not enough to simply imagine once and expect immediate results. Manifestation requires persistence. The mind is constantly active, and new thoughts and beliefs are always being formed. If you focus on your desires only occasionally, or if you allow your attention to be swayed by the current circumstances, you will not create lasting change. This is why it is so important to consistently engage with your imagination and emotions. Every time you revisit the image of your desire fulfilled, you are strengthening the belief in its inevitability. The more you focus on the end result, the feeling of already having what you desire, the more you reinforce that reality in your subconscious mind. You must also be mindful of your thoughts throughout the day. Your thoughts are constantly shaping your reality, even when you are not consciously focused on them. It is easy to slip into old patterns of thinking, especially when you are confronted with challenges or setbacks. But every time you allow yourself to think thoughts of doubt or fear, you are sending out a frequency that is not in alignment with your desires. It is in these moments that you must consciously redirect your thoughts. Instead of focusing on the lack or limitation you may perceive in the present moment, shift your focus to the end result. Focus on the feeling of already having achieved your goals. By doing this, you reestablish your alignment with your desires, and the universe will respond accordingly. It is also important to recognize that the process of creation is not a linear one. Manifestation does not always happen in the way you expect it to. The universe has its own way of bringing things into form, and often it is beyond what your conscious mind can comprehend. However, this should not discourage you. The key is to remain open to receiving in whatever form your desires may come. Trust in the process and allow yourself to stay in the feeling of fulfillment. Even when you do not yet see the evidence in the physical world, the more you do this, the more your external reality will shift to match your inner state. The power of imagination is not just about creating individual desires. It is about creating the life you truly want to live. The more you engage with your imagination, the more you understand that the world is not something happening to you. It is something that you are actively creating. By mastering the art of imagining your desires as already fulfilled, you step into your role as the creator of your own reality. The world around you is constantly changing, and you have the power to shape it through your thoughts, your feelings, and your imagination. When you fully embrace this power, you become the master of your life, and the life you've always desired begins to unfold before your very eyes. There is a fundamental truth that underpins all successful manifestation. The world is governed by the law of assumption. This law is not a new concept, but rather a principle as old as time itself, operating silently in the background of every moment, shaping and molding the very fabric of your life. It is through the law of assumption that you bring about the external circumstances of your life. Whatever you assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, is mirrored back to you by the universe. Your assumptions are powerful because they shape your perception, determine your beliefs, and attract the corresponding events and situations into your life. The law of assumption works on the simple premise that your inner state determines your outer experience. If you assume something is true, your subconscious mind will make that assumption a reality. This principle does not differentiate between what is imagined and what is real. It simply reflects whatever you assume. When you assume that you are successful, abundant, and capable, those assumptions become the reality you experience. Conversely, if you assume that you are unworthy, unlucky, or incapable, your life will reflect those assumptions as well. The first step in harnessing the power of the law of assumption is to consciously choose the assumptions that align with the life you desire to create. Most people go through life passively, accepting the assumptions that society, their upbringing, or their past experiences have imposed upon them. These assumptions often limit their potential and keep them locked in patterns of lack, fear, and scarcity. But once you recognize that your assumptions are the key to changing your life, you can take control of your experience and deliberately choose assumptions that serve your highest good. Imagine that you are walking down a road, and every step you take leads you toward a particular destination. The destination you reach is determined by the assumptions you make with each step. If you assume that every step will take you closer to success, then you move toward that destination with confidence and ease. But if you assume that every step will lead to failure, then you will find yourself off course, moving toward a future that reflects your negative assumptions. This is why it is essential to become mindful of the assumptions you are making throughout your day. Every thought, every belief, and every decision is based on some underlying assumption. When you assume that something is possible for you, your actions will align with that assumption, and your life will begin to reflect it. It is important to remember that assumptions are not limited by what appears to be true in the present moment. The law of assumption operates on the understanding that the outer world is simply a reflection of your inner state. If your present circumstances do not align with your desired future, do not be discouraged. Instead, focus on assuming that your desired outcome is already true, and trust that the universe will rearrange itself to bring your assumptions into reality. The more you assume the end result, the feeling of already having achieved your goals, the more quickly your external reality will shift to match that assumption. This process requires practice and patience, as it is not always easy to break free from the old assumptions that have been deeply ingrained in your mind. The key is to persist in your assumption, even when there is no physical evidence to support it. The subconscious mind does not require proof. It simply accepts whatever assumptions you impress upon it. When you consistently assume that you are successful, wealthy, or healthy, your subconscious mind will begin to bring about the necessary changes in your thoughts, beliefs, and actions to make that assumption a reality. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your assumptions is through visualization. When you vividly imagine yourself living the life you desire, you are impressing your subconscious mind with the assumption that your desires are already true. The more detailed and emotional your visualization, the stronger the assumption becomes. It is not enough to simply picture the end result. You must feel the emotions associated with it. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, and the gratitude of already having what you desire. This emotional charge is what solidifies the assumption in your subconscious mind and makes it a powerful force for manifestation. Along with visualizations, affirmations are another tool you can use to reinforce your assumptions. Affirmations are statements of truth that you repeat to yourself in order to create a new belief or assumption. These affirmations must be stated in the present tense, as if the desired outcome is already true. For example, if your goal is to manifest financial abundance, you might affirm, "I am wealthy and abundant," or "Money flows to me easily and effortlessly." By repeating these affirmations regularly, you are training your subconscious mind to accept the assumption that wealth is already yours. Over time, your mind will align with this assumption, and your external reality will reflect it. It is essential to understand that the law of assumption is not about pretending or wishing for something to happen. It is about adopting a mindset of certainty and belief. When you assume something is true, you live as though it is already true, and this state of being sends out a powerful signal to the universe. The law of assumption is based on the principle that like attracts like. When you assume success, abundance, or happiness, you will begin to attract those very things into your life. The universe responds to the energy you emit. And when you align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your desired outcome, you create a magnetic force that draws those desires to you. Another important aspect of the law of assumption is the idea of living in the end. Living in the end means that you do not focus on the process of getting to your desired outcome, but instead you live as though you have already reached the destination. This requires you to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and to embody that feeling in every moment. When you assume the end result and live as though it is already true, you align your entire being with that reality. This creates an energetic shift that accelerates the manifestation process. You must let go of the idea that you need to see physical evidence before you can believe your desires are coming true. Instead, you must believe in the unseen and trust that your assumptions are creating the necessary changes behind the scenes. It is also crucial to remember that the law of assumption works regardless of whether your assumptions are positive or negative. If you assume that something is impossible or unattainable, that assumption will be reflected in your reality. If you assume that you are destined for failure, you will encounter circumstances that reinforce that belief. Therefore, the law of assumption works both ways. It is up to you to choose which assumptions you want to live by, and whether they will move you closer to your desired reality or keep you trapped in a cycle of limitation. Ultimately, the law of assumption reveals the profound truth that you are the creator of your life. Your assumptions are the seeds from which your reality grows. When you choose your assumptions wisely and live in alignment with them, you begin to create a life that is a true reflection of your inner desires. The power to change your life lies within your assumptions. By assuming the end result and living as though it is already true, you become the master of your destiny, and your desires will unfold before you. Your consciousness is the key to unlocking every possibility within your life. Everything you desire, everything you wish to experience, begins with a shift in consciousness. This shift is not something that happens externally, but rather internally, within the confines of your own mind. The reality you see around you is a reflection of your inner state. The world is not something happening to you. It is something that you are actively creating with every thought, belief, and feeling you hold. It is through this understanding that you realize you have the power to shape your world, to transform your circumstances, and to manifest the desires that you hold in your heart. Your consciousness is like the soil in which the seeds of your desires are planted. The thoughts you think, the beliefs you hold, and the feelings you entertain are the seeds. The environment of your consciousness nurtures these seeds, allowing them to grow and develop into tangible realities. When you allow your mind to focus on the things you want, whether it be success, love, health, or wealth, you are giving life to those desires. The more you nurture these thoughts, the more they begin to take root and manifest in your outer world. The first step in shifting your consciousness is to recognize that your present reality is simply a reflection of your past thoughts. Everything you experience today is a direct result of the thoughts you have been thinking consistently. If you are dissatisfied with any aspect of your life, you must look within and identify the thoughts and beliefs that have created it. To change your reality, you must change the thoughts you think. This may sound simple, but it requires a deep understanding of the power of thought and the role it plays in the creation of your life. Your thoughts are not just fleeting, random occurrences. They are powerful forces that shape your experience. The thoughts you think repeatedly form beliefs, and these beliefs become the foundation of your reality. For example, if you consistently think thoughts of lack and limitation, you will eventually believe that abundance is not possible for you. On the other hand, if you think thoughts of abundance, prosperity, and possibility, you will begin to cultivate a belief in abundance, which will then attract abundant circumstances into your life. The mind does not distinguish between what is true and what is imagined. It simply accepts whatever is impressed upon it. Therefore, when you focus on thoughts of abundance, your subconscious mind will begin to work to bring about the circumstances that align with that belief. However, changing your thoughts is not always an easy task. The mind is habitual, and many of the thoughts you think today are the same ones you have been thinking for years. This is why it is so important to consciously choose your thoughts and focus on the things you desire rather than the things you fear or lack. The key is to create a mental environment that supports your desires. Just as you would care for a plant by watering it and providing sunlight, you must care for your thoughts by consistently feeding them with positive, empowering beliefs. One of the most effective ways to shift your consciousness is through visualization. Visualization is a tool that allows you to mentally and emotionally experience your desires as if they have already come to fruition. When you vividly imagine yourself living the life you desire, whether it is experiencing financial freedom, a successful career, or a loving relationship, you begin to impress these images upon your subconscious mind. As you imagine your desired outcome in great detail, you are communicating to your subconscious that this is the reality you wish to create. The more vivid and real the experience feels, the more powerfully it influences your subconscious. The subconscious mind accepts these images as reality and begins to work to bring about the necessary changes in your external circumstances. But visualization alone is not enough. You must also feel the emotions associated with the outcome you desire. The feeling is what gives life to the visualization. Without emotion, the thought remains an idea. With emotion, it becomes a living, breathing reality. When you imagine yourself living the life you desire, allow yourself to feel the joy, peace, and gratitude that would come with it. These emotions send a powerful signal to the subconscious, reinforcing the belief that your desired outcome is already true. The stronger and more authentic the feeling, the more quickly your subconscious mind will begin to work to bring that reality into being. Another crucial element of shifting your consciousness is the idea of living in the end. This means that you do not focus on the process of how your desires will come to fruition, but rather you focus on the end result, on the feeling of already having achieved your goal. When you live in the end, you are aligning yourself with the energy of your desire as though it has already manifested. You must live as though you are already living the life you desire and embody the feeling of already having what you want. When you do this, you are sending a clear message to your subconscious that this is your reality, and the external world will begin to align with that assumption. Living in the end is a powerful practice because it requires you to detach from the current circumstances that may seem to contradict your desires. For instance, if you are currently in a situation of financial struggle, it can be difficult to imagine yourself as financially abundant. But the key to shifting your consciousness is to stop focusing on the present condition and to begin living in the assumption that you are already wealthy. Feel the peace and joy of already having financial freedom and allow yourself to experience the emotions that would accompany that reality. As you do this, you align yourself with the vibration of abundance, and the universe will respond by bringing about the necessary changes to bring that reality into being. You must also be mindful of the stories you tell yourself. Your internal dialogue shapes your consciousness and ultimately your reality. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, not capable, or not deserving of success, you are reinforcing those beliefs in your mind. The stories you tell yourself about your life become your truth, and the world reflects that truth back to you. To change your reality, you must change the story you tell yourself. Begin telling yourself the story of your success, your abundance, and your happiness. When you tell a new, empowering story, your consciousness begins to shift, and the external world will follow suit. The power of consciousness lies in your ability to shift your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions to align with the reality you wish to create. When you consciously choose to change your inner state, you change your outer world. The more you focus on the life you desire, the more quickly your circumstances will begin to reflect that focus. Your consciousness is the creative force that shapes your life, and it is through the intentional cultivation of empowering thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that you begin to manifest your dreams. You are the creator of your reality, and the key to unlocking your desires is the transformation of your consciousness. By consciously aligning your inner state with your desires, you unlock the power to create the life you have always dreamed of. The world you experience is the reflection of your beliefs, thoughts, and assumptions. Your reality is shaped by the images you hold in your mind and the feelings you attach to those images. Everything around you, from your relationships to your financial situation, is a direct result of the mental images you have created. If you are dissatisfied with any aspect of your life, the key to change is not to look outside yourself, but to look within and reshape the inner images that are shaping your reality. You have the power to create the life you desire by simply changing the pictures in your mind and aligning your feelings with those pictures. The subconscious mind is a powerful force that works tirelessly to bring your beliefs and assumptions into reality. It does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. Whatever you impress upon the subconscious mind with feeling and repetition, it accepts as true and works to bring about in your life. This is why it is so important to understand that your thoughts and beliefs are not just passive experiences. They are the very building blocks of your reality. Every thought you think is a seed being planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious, and that seed will grow and manifest in your external world. To transform your reality, you must first recognize the power of the inner world. Most people are focused on the external world, trying to change their circumstances by manipulating the outside world. However, the key to lasting change lies in changing the inner world first. When you change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you see yourself, your external circumstances will naturally shift to align with that new perspective. This is the law of correspondence. As within, so without. The inner world is the cause, and the outer world is the effect. One of the most effective ways to change your inner world is through the practice of mental imagery. Imagination is not just a tool for creativity. It is the very medium through which you create your reality. When you visualize your desires in vivid detail, you are impressing those images upon your subconscious mind. Your subconscious accepts these images as though they are real, and it begins to work behind the scenes to bring them into fruition. The key is to not just visualize the outcome you desire, but to truly feel the emotions that would accompany that outcome. This is where the power of imagination lies, in the feeling. It is not enough to simply imagine yourself achieving your goals. You must also feel the emotions of already having achieved them. This feeling is what gives power to the mental image and drives the creative process. The stronger and more real the feeling, the more effectively it impresses the subconscious mind. This is why it is essential to practice imagining your desires with as much sensory detail as possible. Imagine the sights, sounds, smells, and feelings that would come with the fulfillment of your desires. The more real the experience feels, the more quickly it will be manifested. Visualization is a powerful tool, but it must be combined with a deep sense of belief and faith in your ability to create. When you visualize your desires, you must do so with the full conviction that they are already yours. Doubt and uncertainty will only delay the manifestation process. It is essential to believe that the things you desire are already a reality in the unseen world, and that the external world will catch up with your inner conviction. The key is to live in the assumption that your desires are already fulfilled, and to feel the emotions of having already received them. One of the most important aspects of manifestation is to detach from the outcome and trust in the process. It is easy to get caught up in the how and when of manifestation, but this only creates resistance. The universe will work in its own time and way to bring your desires to fruition, but it is up to you to stay aligned with your inner state. Trust that your desires are on their way, even when you cannot see any evidence of them in the physical world. The more you detach from the need for immediate results and focus on maintaining the feeling of fulfillment, the quicker your desires will manifest. Another critical aspect of manifesting your desires is consistency. It is not enough to visualize your desires once and expect them to appear. Manifestation requires consistent attention and focus. The more you consistently impress your subconscious mind with the images and feelings of your desired outcome, the more quickly those desires will become your reality. It is through repetition and persistence that you align yourself with the frequency of your desires. The longer you hold the image and feeling of your desires, the more the universe will conspire to bring them to you. One of the most powerful things you can do to strengthen your belief in your ability to manifest your desires is to practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful emotion that shifts your energy from lack to abundance. When you focus on the things you are grateful for, you send a message to the universe that you are ready to receive more. Gratitude aligns you with the energy of abundance and opens the door for more blessings to flow into your life. Practice gratitude every day and watch as your life begins to reflect the abundance you are focused on. While it is essential to visualize and feel your desires, it is also important to take inspired action when necessary. The universe does not work in a vacuum. It responds to your vibration and sends opportunities your way. When you are aligned with your desires, you will be guided to take actions that move you closer to them. These actions may not always make logical sense, but they are aligned with the energy of your desires. Trust your intuition and take action when inspired. The more you act in alignment with your desires, the more quickly your reality will shift to reflect them. Manifestation is not a passive process. It requires you to actively participate by choosing your thoughts, aligning your emotions with your desires, and taking inspired action. The more consistently you practice these principles, the faster you will manifest your desires. The power to create the life you desire lies within you, and the key to unlocking that power is to focus on the inner world, the world of thoughts, beliefs, and feelings. When you master the inner world, you master the outer world, and your reality will be shaped in alignment with your highest desires. In the end, your reality is not determined by the circumstances around you, but by the beliefs and images you hold in your mind. When you change the inner images of your life, the outer world will follow. The key to manifesting your desires is to practice living in the end result, to align your thoughts and feelings with your desired outcome, and to trust in the power of your imagination. By doing so, you will begin to see your dreams materialize before your eyes. You are the creator of your own reality, and the life you desire is within your reach. In conclusion, the power to shape your reality lies within you. Every thought you think, every belief you hold, and every assumption you make has a profound impact on the world you experience. Your inner world, your consciousness, directly influences the outer world, and by shifting your mindset, you can transform any area of your life. The key to manifesting your desires is to recognize the creative power of your thoughts and emotions, and to align them with the life you wish to create. By understanding the principles of assumption, visualization, belief, and feeling, you can begin to deliberately create the circumstances you desire. The process requires consistent focus, emotional alignment, and unwavering faith in your ability to manifest your dreams. When you focus on the end result and live as though your desires are already fulfilled, you send out a powerful signal to the universe, which will respond by aligning your reality with your assumptions. Remember, the world around you is not static. It is in constant motion, and your beliefs and thoughts are the driving forces behind that motion. You are the creator of your own destiny, and by consciously directing your mind, you can unlock endless possibilities. Trust in the power of your imagination, believe in the unseen, and know that your desires are already on their way. As you persist in aligning your inner state with the life you desire, you will witness the world around you shift in remarkable ways. The life you dream of is not out of reach. It is already within you, waiting to be realized.